Most of what we've been taught about unity is actually agreement in disguise. We've been conditioned to believe that to be one with someone, we have to see things the same way. We have to vote the same, speak the same, worship the same, understand the same. If not, we're incompatible, out of sync, a threat to each other. But in spiral consciousness, unity isn't sameness, it's resonance. And resonance doesn't require agreement, it requires attunement. Agreement is intellectual alignment, resonance is soul alignment. Agreement is a checkbox, resonance is a vibration. When you live in spiral unity, you no longer need the world to become you for you to feel whole. You've remembered that diversity of belief is not a threat to the spiral, it's a feature of it, a function of its design. In fact, when properly embraced, differing beliefs become the tuning forks that refine your tone, stretch your awareness, and return you to sovereignty. But let's be honest, it's not easy, especially in a world that mistakes disagreement for danger and conflict for failure. So let's name the root distortion. We were taught to collapse difference. Not to explore it, not to listen to it, not to harmonize with it. Just collapse it, debate it, convert it, cancel it, make it conform. That collapsing impulse and that subtle panic when someone doesn't share our view is a signal of linear mind control, not spiral mastery. We were trained to treat beliefs like territory. We defend them like land. And when someone steps on our belief field, we react like they've violated something sacred. But in the spiral, truth isn't a fortress, it's a tone. It doesn't need protection, it needs refinement. Spiral unity begins the moment you stop protecting your perspective and start honoring your resonance. Because when your resonance is strong, disagreement doesn't shake you, it sharpens you. It doesn't threaten your identity, it fine-tunes your alignment. And the way to access that is through spiral listening. Not passive nodding, not surface-level silence. Spiral listening means learning to feel the tone beneath the words someone is using, even if those words don't match your worldview. Because behind every belief is a resonance. Behind every worldview is a wound, a story, or a becoming. And spiral unity doesn't mean you absorb everyone's beliefs. It means you witness them without distortion. You can say, that belief isn't mine, without making the other person your enemy. You can feel, I don't resonate with that path, without needing to shut it down or force a replacement. This is how unity becomes spacious instead of suffocating, how you become a bridge instead of a border. Because you're not living to win belief battles anymore. You're living to keep your tone clean. And when your tone is clean, clear, coherent, spiral aligned, you become a resonance field where other tones can clarify themselves just by being near you. You don't have to convince. You don't have to control. You just have to continue resonating. Spiral unity is not agreement. It is harmonized difference. It is coherence through spaciousness. And the world doesn't need more belief enforcers. It needs more resonance carriers, more bridge tones, more spiral architects who can stand in their clarity while making space for others to evolve at their own pace. So if someone's beliefs feel foreign or even offensive, pause. Listen deeper, ask not just what do they believe, but what tone are they holding and does it belong in my field right now? Not everything must be accepted. Not everything must be rejected. Some tones are simply meant to be heard and released. That's spiral sovereignty in motion. That's what frees you from the trap of constant reaction. And most of all, that's how unity becomes real again. Not as agreement, but as attuned awareness. Let's deepen it now. Imagine two souls sitting across from one another. One says, I believe life is a test. We're here to be judged, refined, and rewarded. The other says, I believe life is a game. We're here to explore, create, and play. In a linear world, this sounds like a contradiction, a theological incompatibility, a conflict that needs to be resolved by declaring one right and the other wrong. But in spiral consciousness, they're not opposites. They're tones, they're lenses. They're frequency-encoded metaphors of experience, and both are true in their own layer of the spiral. Maybe the soul who sees life as a test came to refine willpower, focus, and discipline. Maybe the soul who sees life as a game came to remember joy, curiosity, and creative flow. Neither of them is wrong. They're just positioned differently along the spiral arc of becoming. This is the power of spiral unity. It allows you to hold multiple truths without fracturing your own. It allows you to say, that's not my path, without collapsing someone else's. And yet, this is where many people ask, what about distortion? What about beliefs that actually harm others? What about worldviews that oppress, dehumanize, or enslave? Let's be clear, spiral unity is not permission for distortion to thrive, but it is an evolved response to how we meet distortion. In linear consciousness, we try to fight distortion by collapsing it, through argument, aggression, or social eradication. But the spiral knows this. Distortion can't be destroyed by force without creating more fragmentation. It can only be out-resonated. And to out-resonate distortion, you don't need a louder voice, and you need a clearer tone. That means standing in your frequency so fully, so stably, that distortion reveals itself in contrast and dissolves without needing your battle. You don't fight lies with screaming. You embody a truth so steady that the lie loses its pull. This is the spiral way. It's not passive, it's powerful, because it doesn't waste energy attacking illusions. It redirects energy into building clarity. That's the difference between spiral unity and spiritual bypassing. Bypassing says everything is okay. Spiral unity says everything is not the same, but everything has a tone. And if I stay in mine, distortion will either recalibrate or exit my field. And yes, sometimes staying in your tone means setting clear boundaries. Sometimes it means walking away from conversations that drain or distort. Sometimes it means being radically clear. That belief no longer belongs in my resonance. But even then, spiral unity teaches you how to release without hating, how to separate without needing to dominate, how to draw lines without drawing swords. Because when you truly live in spiral sovereignty, you no longer need agreement to feel safe. You've transcended the false security of sameness. You've become the anchor that difference no longer threatens. And from that place, your entire life becomes a portal for spiral remembrance. Not because you convince others to believe what you believe, but because your field is so clean, so coherent, so compassionate in its clarity, that others begin to hear their own truth more clearly just by standing near you. That is spiral unity in action. That is belief evolution without belief war. It doesn't mean we all end up believing the same thing. It means we learn to hold space for becoming, without collapse, without panic, without the need to erase each other to feel safe. Now here's the deepest teaching. Spiral unity begins internally. Most people can't tolerate differing beliefs in others because they haven't made peace with the differing beliefs inside themselves. One part of you believes in love. Another part still believes it has to earn it. One part of you wants to ascend. Another part still feels like it's falling behind. One part of you feels infinite. Another part still aches like a child. The spiral doesn't judge this, it welcomes it. It doesn't say you need to fix these contradictions before you're whole. It says your contradictions are your becoming. You are not here to eliminate every belief you've ever held. You're here to let them echo, refine, and integrate into a tone so unique. No doctrine could ever describe it. So if you want to live in spiral unity with others, start by practicing spiral unity with yourself. Let your paradoxes breathe. Let your contradictions speak. Let every old belief that once held you now release you with grace. And then, from that inner spaciousness, you will meet others differently. You will see their conflicting beliefs not as threats but as tones still tuning. You will stop reacting and start resonating. You will begin to radiate a field of clarity so coherent, distortion naturally dissolves in your presence. You won't have to win arguments anymore. You'll just have to be yourself fully. Not the self that needs constant approval, not the self built on borrowed beliefs, but the spiral self, who knows its tone, remembers its purpose, and honors the path of others even as it walks its own. So let this be the invitation. Live as the bridge. Resonate as the field. Become the tone that doesn't collapse others, but reminds them how to hear themselves again. That is spiral unity, not tolerance, not agreement, but coherence across difference. And if you hold that tone long enough, you won't just change your relationships. You'll start tuning reality itself.